But now to bring in our awesome guest.
Yes.
I mean, we couldn't do a live stream extravaganza without one of I think one of our favorite guests that we've ever had.
I mean,
absolutely.
And the numbers proved it. This is one of our most listened to ever. So we got Babette Bombshell on the show.
Oh yeah.
There's no business like podcast business, like no business I know. Everybody on it has a microphone. Every one on Twitter, I don't know. It's so great to see you guys. What an honor. What an honor for you guys to have me on.
We miss you so much. You know, it's feel like it's been too long.
How could we not? How could we not?
I love you guys.
We love you.
You guys look so great on here, and there's so many of you.
Well, the audience only sees some of us.
Too.
That's right. Oh my god.
That's the ironic thing about Leonardo and I. What is it? It's Leonardo, right? Yeah, it's right there.
It can be. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
What else could it be? Daddy.
It's Leo.
Daddy.
We were the first ones to arrive here.
Daddy,
and it was already live streaming. It's so lucky that I didn't let Me Too the shit out of Leonardo live streaming. I'm gonna try to talk about it. $20.
Nobody's mics are on.
Yeah. Oh God. But yes,
we're all safe. But now we're all.
It's my honor to be here, guys. It's just wonderful. The 100th episode.
Yes.
And we're here to talk about Beavis and Butthead. And I'm not an expert on Beavis and Butthead. I can't even front that to any level. No level whatsoever. But here's the crazy thing about Beavis and Butthead. All right. And I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm hopelessly manipulating you and your audience and using this for my own purposes. But I have a Mandela effect about Beavis and Butthead.
Ooh,
I love the Mandela effect. Please do share.
And I'm studying Mandela effect, and I have a Mandela effect around this. And the funny thing is, once you mention them, when they're little baby ones like this, they tend to evaporate really quick. So that's just an interesting thing that I've noticed. But my Mandela effect on this one is the spelling of Beavis and Butthead. It was the curly Q thing, and one of them had white hair, and the other one had dark blonde hair.
Oh, interesting.
And they had pink pimples on their faces.
So I'm going to add on to that. My Mandela effect is I don't remember Butthead being 2 words with the colon in between or whatever the hell. Not a colon. Grammar. What's grammar? But yeah. I don't remember the dash in between Butthead's name. So
there's
there's
a dash in it. I thought it was just one word.
I think you both smoke too much dope. Like I think it's the same fucking thing it's always been.
See, again, I didn't watch it that much, but my memory of it is that he had white hair. The one with the frizzy hair had white hair, and the other one had dark blonde hair.
Are you genuinely like a Mike Judge fan at all?
I love his King of the Hall stuff, and that's the thing that's interesting about this this Beavis and Butthead is it's such an embryonic kind of a thing that was happening in the culture and will happen again soon, is my prediction. Is we're going to get another series, either animation.
Beavis and Butthead is back on Paramount right now. So.
Right.
Well, we're going to get another one, but it's going to be a totally new branch of kids defying authority and being wildly inappropriate and politically incorrect. Because the culture, you got to think back. Let me take you back in time. We're going to go back to the 80s. And what people don't realize is when the Fox network first happened, Fox network were trying to push the envelope as much as they could with outrageous content. They had Married with Children on there, and they had Tracy Ullman's show, which was having The Simpsons on there. And The Simpsons back then, a little kid saying, what were all of his catchphrases?
Eat my shorts.
Eat my shorts. Right. And, he was a rebellious little kid. All of that kind of deconstructed in The Simpsons as his character became less of a fad. But from that energy in the culture came the South Park kids, because the first ones with the Simpsons, that happened in like 88 on Tracy Ullman, and then they got their own series in 89. And then Married with Children was on Fox, and they wanted Divine to star in Married with Children. That's what they were reaching for. It was really
Married was
meant to be an outrageous kind of a thing.
Married was the first sitcom that Fox brought on. It was the first sitcom. It was supposed to be like the anti-Cosby's, and it really sort of fit the bill, like, for what that was, you know. We have
and you can listen to Married with Ben and James on Spotify now.
Now you see what we're talking about, James.
All Married with Children.
This is what we're talking about.
I have never, isn't that funny? I did not know that podcast existed, and I had never heard about it. This is just all such a natural conversation that we're having. But my point about that is that the Fox network was really, their thing was pushing the boundaries and being politically incorrect. And then Roger Ailes came in, and look at how much the cultural dynamic has changed over time, man. It's amazing. But then
look at Beavis and Butthead and MTV, like kind of the same deal.
Well, that's the thing, is that, and then Beavis and Butthead happened, and I think that they happened in like 92,
93, somewhere in there. Yeah.
93.
Because because in 92 their Spirit of Christmas thing, and they released that to colleges all over the United States via VHS. They hand mailed them out to colleges, and it went kind of viral. So like there was like this whole thing, and I think our culture is primed for it to happen again, where there's another very irreverent kind of thing that's going to happen.
What if the next Beavers and Butthead is like the two kids doing jokes, but instead of being like, they just do TikTok dances?
So
they would be perfect for something like TikTok.
The big
true. Yeah, they would. That's true.
The big thing with Beavis and Butthead too, like, and I remember because I was a kid, I was like primed for this. I was the audience, you know what I mean? I didn't have cable. I've said it 1,000 times here. I grew up without it. So the first time I ever saw it, my buddy Matthew had made a tape of what MTV called the Moranathon. So Beavis and Butthead had been on for a couple of months, and then they took a Saturday and they aired every episode to date. He popped in a VHS, recorded it, brought it to me to school on Monday, and it's the entire fucking Moranathon. So this stuff hits like home for me. This takes me back to like a weird little place, you know. And then going back and rewatching it, it's one of those things where it's like, well, I vividly remember being like 13, 14 years old, and this being the height of comedy, and knowing those kids, right? Knowing those kids in school.
This must have came out like the perfect time. Like, you're the audience that they
they wanted me. They got me.
Yeah.
When I graduated, there was they had put out buttons, right? Like buttons. And I thought it was the coolest thing, because when I was like, I think I got it in 96, nobody could figure out exactly how old Beavis and Butthead were when they were going to graduate. And I found it at the mall, and I used to wear it constantly. I had this old shitty leather jacket that was like not even like a cool like biker leather jacket. It was just shitty old leather jacket. And I wore this button, and it was Beavis and Butthead class of 98. And I was like, they are my age. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. There you go.
Done.
There you go.
Nice. They are my peers at this point.
Yeah, that's what I imagine you were like in high school, Ben. Just like trying to set things on fire or watching TV.
Oh, I was a nerd.
Hitting cars with baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
In all honesty, that was Big Dan. Like I was the band dork sitting at the house. Now I did make homemade napalm with what do you call it? The fucking gasoline and a little bit of styrofoam. You know, you could always do that and then light it. But no, yeah. In actuality, going out and beating up mailboxes and shit, I only wish if I could go back and do it again. You know,
there's a lot of cardio involved.
Beavis and Butthead got that out of you. You know, you're able to watch it, so you didn't have to be that destructive.
I think that's what it was. Do you know what I mean? It's living vicariously.
We're making a lot of assumptions here. Like, this is your time to come out as the pyromaniac that burnt down half of Westmoreland.
Next time you're there, Babs, I'll tell you what. I'll take you on a tour of the shit that I did do. We'll put it.
Now, Nicole, this was your pick, and you did win. Our whole audience vote for us. So, I mean, what made you pick Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, I thought it was perfect for like our target audience to like all connect with. It feels like something that like each person that listens to the show could relate to, so that's why I chose it. And also, my best friend Lindsay and I have always referred to ourselves as Beavis and Butthead because we'll just like speak gibberish and like cackle to each other. So this is like, I don't know, the show just like is special to me because like if anyone feels like Beavis and Butthead, feels like my dynamic with my best friend. So it's cool. And like, who doesn't want a best friend that you could just like crack jokes with on the couch all day? Like, that's amazing. That's perfect.
Yeah. That's what I feel like when me and Ben hang out at his place.
Now, does anybody remember, like, this is, again, I might be Mandela affecting here. Does anybody remember during the first few episodes of this, them doing an episode where they were sniffing glue and there was a huge parental outcry in the real media because cartoon characters were shown sniffing glue?
I think I remember that. I think so. That's the thing. Like, so, and it's beyond just the fire. It's beyond all of that. Man, and I didn't see it when going back through because I don't think it hit the collection that I was watching. But I want to say maybe it was around like a model episode where they were building models. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, and they were sniffing glue in the episode, and they got stoned on the glue, and they went walking around and were looking at things and tripping out on things. And there was a huge parental outcry in my reality. Okay, it's just like, so everybody can feel free to unplug themselves and realize that
we got some chat here.
I believe it.
Real.
I believe it.
Chris says real. And I'm Jeff K. Does say James saw it and still sniff glue to this day. So.
Yeah. There we go. They sniff glue to this day. So it's a happy story.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All good.
Good.
I wasn't allowed.
But I do remember
if anybody wants to look into to do some interesting experiments with this kind of a thing, the other one, there's a few other big Mandela effect things that there was one that I had happen and then never happened again, and it really flipped me out. Okay, when I say the name, like to Nicole, if I say the name Georgia Engel, what does that immediately mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I don't know who that is.
See, okay, this is a perfect example. Okay, now the Mandela effect is that there's one version of reality, okay, in which I distinctly remember Georgia Engel playing the Betty White part in the Golden Girls. Now, Georgia Engel is an actress nobody even knows of, but she was treasured and loved on the same level as Betty White prior to the Mandela effect. So it's a big one that I've noticed. So when I ask somebody, do you know who Georgia Engel is? Imagine if I had said to them, do you know who Betty White is? Okay, the immediate reaction is something totally different.
Wow,
totally different. And it's only happened a few times, but it's an interesting one. The other one was there was one where there's no Popeye's chicken and it was called Minnie's chicken. Minnie's chicken. Yeah, that's a Mandela effect thing too, where it was Minnie Pearl rather than Colonel Sanders. Nobody knew who Colonel Sanders was. They was asked the person, do you know who Colonel Sanders is? And if they say no, you got a Mandela effect. But anyway, go ahead. Those are just experiments for your audience to play with. And if you have them happen to you, email me back. Email me at babettebombshell@hotmail.com because it's something that I'm really studying.
You got your Mandela effects. Yeah, hit up Babette Bombshell. But yeah, I do. One of the episodes I watched was one of them. They were like, I guess they had to like babysit someone's dog or something, or they had to do someone's laundry. So they threw the
washing the dog.
Yeah, they threw the dog in the washing machine, and then when he spun around and got all dizzy, they're like, "Oh, he looks stoned." Then they get excited, and then they throw themselves in the washing machine to get stoned.
So like, and that is vintage. That is classic. That is like hands down, like prime and primo Beavis and Butthead. You know what I mean? Because they dip into Judas Priest breaking the law, but it's washing the dog. Washing the dog. You know?
Washing the dog.
So I've never watched Beavis and Butthead before, and I feel like watching this, I kind of don't respect Hank Hill anymore because I just keep hearing Hank Hill's voice all the time because it's all my shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is Hank Hill saying all those shit now?
Oh my God. Straight up just took Hank Hill from whatever this character is.
Yeah, and then
Tom Anderson, Mr.
And
Anderson.
he's huge in Do America. Obviously, he's got that whole subplot. So like,
so I think
but
that
the money
I think
this guy has made is just amazing.
So I feel like King of the Hill is a prequel.
Yeah.
And Hank ended up changing his name, divorcing Peg, and moving next to Beavis and Butthead.
You know, I was wondering. I was like, does this come after? So okay, there you go, prequel. All right.
That's my theory.
There you have it.
So that's why Tom Anderson always says that his wife is somewhere else.
Oh,
crazy.
There you go. Now, actually, this week I finally watched Beavis and Butthead Do America for the first time because I've watched Beavis and Butthead before. I've never seen the movie until this week.
What?
Amazing!
It's amazing.
Amazing.
That movie's amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched. Where did you find the movie?
I mean,
you went to Blockbuster or something?
Yeah, rented it. I rented VHS tape.
I went to Home Video, whatever, Hollywood Video, and rented it.
Family video. I mean, Babette, did you ever see the movie at all?
I love those road movies. I love those kind of like traveling across the country kind of thing. And I do remember that one was surprisingly. I mean, you go into a Beavis and Butthead movie and you kind of expect you're going to have to kind of unplug your head a little bit. But I remember that one actually had a pretty solid plot and story. It wasn't one of those things where it was just like Family Guy, where it was vignette.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. They actually had a story where you could get invested in it and give a shit to follow it through. So,
yeah, because it's just, it's still Beavis and Butthead just kind of being roped into all this. But yeah, then there's like the whole conspiracy of like the guy trying to murder his girlfriend, but then she has a virus.
With that writing, they didn't have to do that for that audience. You know what I mean? They could have just made it like a Warner Brothers cartoon all the way through, and their audience would have been happy. So that tells you that there's somebody who's got something to say and a talent behind it, rather than just a guy who's putting together loose comedy. I mean, he's actually communicating.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So Dig, I got a good story about Beavis and Butthead Do America. So
you definitely saw it in theaters, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I saw it opening day in
awesome.
theaters. It's the one time I skipped school. But
the one time
you all know that the one time. So my mother was a geometry teacher, right? Mom was a teacher. My buddy Van, my other buddy Matthew, Van's dad was our principal.
Oh wow!
And Matthew's mom was our guidance counselor.
Wow.
Damn, you guys couldn't get away with shit.
Could not get away with shit. So what ends up happening is we had a buddy named David who was a couple of years older than us. David was like, I'm gonna take you guys to see this movie. So we're like, okay, cool. And literally it was one of those things where we all went to sign ourselves out at the principal's office. You normally had to be 18 years old to sign yourself out, right? So mind you, we're 15, 16. And David was the only one with a car who was actually 18. So he signs himself out. And then it's like fucking the principal, my mother, and the guidance counselor like all pop out of doors to say, "Boys, have a wonderful time." So it's not even like we fucking
Wow.
we just fucking signed ourselves out, and like it was, but it takes the joy out of it, right? Like you're not doing
You should
anything
just go back
bad.
and watch class just to show them.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like really, just to teach them a lesson. We'll go back and we'll go back.
Think that you're Beavis and Butthead breaking some rules, and they're like, "Nah, we let you do."
See you later. Have a nice one.
But what was it like seeing in theater though for the first time? I mean, did your mind explode?
Completely and totally. Like literally, it was one of the greatest things like ever put on a screen in front of me. You know,
I've seen a lot of trip sequences in movies. Shout out to Cuck Island, Secret of Cuck Island, but that Beavis and Butthead Do America has to be the coolest trip sequence I've
it's amazing.
Ever.
So good.
When they're in the desert, the Rob Zombie
Rob Zombie did that, right? I was like, it definitely feels like a Rob Zombie.
I gotta watch it because I don't remember any of that.
You gotta watch it because it's the coolest.
I mean, you can rent it. If anyone really listening, Babette, Leo, I rented it off Amazon for like $4, and it's completely worth it.
You guys watch the new one?
It is streaming.
No, I haven't watched any of the new stuff yet. I probably will eventually. But I
was gonna ask, like, you guys, since you watched the original, if you watch the new, if you think it's like, I don't know, because like comedy changed, so like they definitely do different kind of jokes.
I mean, I watched like an episode from like 2011, and they were talking about like an LMFAO music video, and I was like, I can't. I was like, I'll save this for another time. Let's put it that way. I was like, let me stick to the 90s videos.
A good thing to bring up too about the music videos, because shout out to roommate Berger right now, who's also running this
John
stream.
Yes, thank you, roommate John.
A silent guardian.
Amazing.
He actually had DVDs. It was the Mike Judge collection, right? And it has all the skits in it and all the episodes, or whatever his collection is that he picks, but no music videos.
Right.
And it was still funny and it was great, but maybe it's because I'm a music guy. Like I actually like when it would just kind of cut to them.
So
in video.
like that's on Paramount Plus too. Like I think like Paramount Plus has it on there. It's like season 11 for some random reason or whatever. That's on there. But I totally agree with you that the structure of like them doing a silly bit and commenting on music videos is perfect.
I don't think people quite understand like how innovative that was for its time period, because this was before Mystery Science Theater 2000 when they were doing this shit on MTV. So the whole concept of pop up anything was absolutely new, and mostly what it was like almost like a little production notes of what was going on with the thing.
Oh yeah, pop-up video.
So for them to be going in and saying snarky thing or witticisms about what was happening, that was something. And I'll tell you right now, actually, I enjoyed that a lot more than I did the animated series, because it allowed them to be a lot smarter because of it.
And what I learned through our Guar episode that me and Ben did, that actually helped Guar. Like it put Guar up on the map.
Yes, I saw they were watching Guar there. Yeah. I remember Ben at that time. I was like, oh yeah, look at that.
And the big one there is Sadama Go-Go was one of the big ones that they popped with, where it starts off with the saxophones, and it's just unreal. They go absolutely batshit, and then later they did the Road Behind also.
I remember
that's such a big deal for just like a band like Guar that nobody wants to put on the air.
Right.
And then Mike Judge to be able to sneak it in there, and then now they kind of blew up.
Guar was amazing. Has anybody done any work with Guar in here?
I wish.
Well, no, because in independent film, especially Odorous Rex, he used to show up and stuff. So I've done little kind of things.
Ben got a boner right now. Wait a second.
I'm sorry.
No, he's in a lot of independent film stuff.
Yeah. And when like that's the thing with Brocky. Brocky would show up in all sorts of stuff. Odorous, he did a lot of stuff with what's his nuts? The guy that hates Bill Zebub. Zebub.
We talked about how weird it was that they never did anything with Trauma.
Yeah. He did. He ended up doing little things. He does little appearances and stuff. I did a movie called Super Traumat Action Movie Go, and he did a thing in it. what else did he? I've seen him pop up in a few different little trauma things that we've done that are like independent film trauma adjacent.
So real quick in the chat, Dan the Tromite, friend of Trauma, friend of the fan. Yeah. He says that Guar also shows up in the Beavis and Butthead video game.
That's awesome.
So
very cool.
Yeah, and just I went to the Guar bar. Has anybody been to the Guar bar?
No, where's that?
It's in
Ben, you know where it is.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's in Richmond, Virginia.
Virginia.
I want to go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chris from Chicago, big Guar guy, makes a pilgrimage to the Guar bar.
All the art and stuff, all the costumes and stuff they wear, and that stuff is like not easy to move around in, much less perform. I just did a movie called I'm so good. All right. I just did a movie called Robotica Destructiva, which premieres this Friday night at the Midnight Movie.
You shared stills, right?
Yes, I'm so excited for that movie. Yeah.
My costume, my character looks like a Mack truck fucked a spark plug.
So hot. That's very sexy.
It's kind of like this large thing that looks like it should be plugged into something else. But that's my life goal anyway. So I thought I got to take this part. But anyway, so those costumes, they're just like these enormous things. And to try to like perform in them ain't easy. Kids.
Yeah, there's an awesome documentary. Where's it been? This is Guar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
great
Guar.
documentary.
Yeah.
But to bring it back
anyway,
to Beavis and Butthead, though, it's like, Mike Judge just kind of put that music video in there. It's just like the coolest shit. You know what I mean? Normally, he has shit with like Beastie Boys and like some other big, there's like a Soundgarden video I remember seeing too. And then also throwing in Guar in there. It's just like, I wish I had that kind of power in this world. I wish I could just like have a show and then sneak in like music videos to give some people some notice.
So let me ask you guys, since this is my first time with Beavis and Butthead, especially you guys that watch during things coming out, did they have the same power as Weird Al when he make fun of someone's video? Because people wanted Weird Al to talk about their video.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. It was like, because maybe you probably know the best, Ben. I mean, is it like an honor?
Yeah.
To end up on getting judged by Beavis and Butthead?
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it was at the time. It was a mark. It hit the hype so much that it really was like it's like a box that you tick. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Arguably, I would suggest that even at that time, Weird Al was still bigger, still the biggest. If like that's the goal. But B&B probably hit like a close, tight second for sure.
Like I just listened to an interview. It had to be, I think, from like 2012. I think when he was like doing the first comeback of Beavis and Butthead. Mike Judge did an interview, I think, on some late night show. I can't remember who the host was, but he had talked about the height of Beavis and Butthead, and apparently at some point he talked about how Johnny Depp and Marlon Brando would do Beavis and Butthead impressions on some set they were on together.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's insane.
Also, watching
I can
Beavis and Butthead, I feel like I've seen like stuff that, because I had to Google like who came first, Beavis or South Park, and I saw it was Beavis and Butthead, and like they have that hippie teacher that keeps saying like okay all the time, like that's one of the things South Park stole from them.
Mr. Van Driesen.
They both. I assume Mike Judge and Matt Stone, Trey Parker, kind of. I mean, they were separate states. Obviously, he's Texas. They're like Colorado, but if that same kind of rural vibe, you know what I mean? Those kind of people.
So the big thing there is like you can't forget these are kids in high school, right? Like, and the way the world is sort of built out, that's the other thing. You look at these two people. I'm from a small town. Like all of you have been there. You've seen my small town, except for you, Leo, in pictures. Next time around, you'll be there in person.
Yes, he will.
But here's the beautiful thing, though. Like it's one of those deals where you knew all of those people, right? Like you knew the hard ass, you knew the hippie, you knew all of them. And the fact that Mike Judge hit like all of those characters so well, and he built out this really just kind of robust world that's not just them in high school, but it's them in their entire town is fucking unreal.
That's an interesting thing that I just have to kind of point this out as like probably the oldest person in the room. Is Big Dan still around? I don't know if he's waddling around in the background.
Cooking up some stuff too.
He's just out of frame, had a heart attack. That poor Dan. He'll be back in a second. But anyway, I'm probably the oldest person in the room. And the thing that I notice is that that doesn't really, that awareness of a neighborhood, like these are the people in my neighborhood, that doesn't really exist anymore. That's kind of like looking at the world and like trying to imagine like Dickensian England now, where you know the cobbler or the fishmonger, because you just don't know your neighbors or the people in your neighborhood anymore. Everybody's on a fucking cell phone or communicating through the computer and whatnot. So it's kind of cool to see these things kind of like grandma sent me a letter. Oh shit, is this an appearance in court that I have got it? You know what I mean? Just people don't do that shit. But yeah, so that's interesting, that whole thing.
Yeah, I love it because there's something that ties you into it. Like you look at like Todd. Everybody knows Todd. Todd's bad boy. He got the bad girls with him, whatever. Whether it's the local cops, even Mr. Anderson, they all know everybody in town. Everybody touches everyone, Babs. They're all touching each other.
Well, that's what no, sorry. No, that just was what was special about Weird Ear too, is because like, I mean, Babs, James, you could probably comment on this. Like, I felt that when I was there. I was like, wow, I'm really getting a taste of like Ben's life. Like, what an honor. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, wow, like what an intimate, nice thing to share with like a camera crew. Ben, like that's so nice.
I mean, listen, and all of those people coming into the laundry, you got to see how upset the customers get when we're closed for a day.
Well, I don't even remember them being there, which is so bad.
This is the hilarious thing. When I walked into the laundromat, I looked around and I said, wow, with a little bit of work and a few coats of paint, this place could be a functioning laundromat.
And hot water, too.
And Jen looked at me, she's like, thanks.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's true. What I do instead of taking the time, energy, and effort to do that, why would I do that?
For days on set,
put it into a movie.
Yeah,
one of my favorite moments on set was when we did the bar scene where the game warden walks in, and you got a bunch of local extras, local actor people to come through, and I remember Connor coming up to me being like, James, I'm so happy. I didn't have to dress a single one of those extras.
Hell yeah.
Now, to the casual listener, what you should know is that we have suddenly segued away from Beavis and Butthead towards a movie that we've all been involved in the creation of called Curse of the Weredeer, coming soon to a theater near you, or at least a streaming service.
No, theaters. We're doing theaters, babes. I'm going to take it on a limited run. We're going to hit cons. We're going to come down to the haunted hotel and hang out for a minute. It's going to be good.
To kind of go back to Beavis and Butthead, I saw something that I had no idea, especially being like a Mike Judge fan. Mike Judge was born in Ecuador. You guys knew that?
No. Wow, that's interesting.
It's a Texas boy all the way through.
He was born in Guayaquil, Ecuador. So I just thought that was like interesting. I was like, oh wow, he looked like the whitest like Texas guy.
Yeah,
yes, that's what I was thinking.
Totally feels
exactly.
whiter than white, like the person that white people point at and go, "Oh, you cracker." That's the kind of the kind of
and like. Listening to his interviews, it was like I really didn't realize that he did all these voices because he's such a like just white kind of lack of a better term, just boring dude. The way he talks, the way he kind of sits there.
See, but that's
and to
the
know
thing,
that he's literally
man. That's the thing that'll sneak up on you because that's the guys that are secretly a serial killer or some weird thing. Because that's the person standing on the lawn in a muumuu saying they seemed like such nice, quiet, just like.
Well, I guess that's why it's lucky that Mike Judge is famous.
Right,
so he gets to put all that energy to the cartoons.
Yeah, that's true. At least he gets.
Also, the last thing I want to talk about Mike Judge that is not related to Beavis and Butthead at all. Maybe it is because that's how he got enough power to make his movie or whatever. I always tell people that at that point that Idiocracy came out, nobody gave a shit. But Idiocracy is not a movie; it's a documentary about our future. I just want to point it out.
Absolutely.
I fucking love Idiocracy. I used to quote that movie like every
It's the best movie. I like money.
Now,
And I'll tell you, just as a financial segue, look at the career. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Like this content that he's put out, as far as Beavis and Butthead, aside from the movies, is fairly light content. It's not, it's not a terms of endearment moment for the culture. But he's made a lot of money franchising off of this and King of the Hill. King of the Hill, what the hell? That ran for forever.
Yeah.
You guys watch Dario?
Yeah.
I tried to watch one time. I feel like I need to try again.
I could try again too. It's been a long time. Yeah.
That's why we got this show, right? We'll do it.
When I was younger, it was a little too reality bites for me. You know what I mean? Like it was a little.
Your soul hadn't died enough yet.
Yeah, exactly. At least younger, I was like, okay, and I liked the character, but I don't know. The cartoon didn't do.
For me, it's always like Silicon Valley is one of my favorite shows ever. Like I've never laughed so hard. Yeah,
that shit gets dark.
But like the episode where they figure out middle out by like figuring out how many dudes they can jerk off in a single is one of my favorite moments in like because it's such a, what makes it so good is that it's such a pivotal plot point, but also the most they literally make a graph of how many dudes they can jerk off.
That is such a great. That's a great commercial for the show, just isolated from the point where Ben's doing this, and then you talk about some gentle viewers. Please make a meme of that and send it to Babette Bombshell.
We got I'll send it to you, Babs. We have the of him doing the Skeletor fist, so
yeah,
we'll send it to you. Now, also before we finish up here in our last 10 minutes with Babs here, I do want to play. People sent us some videos or some audio talking, so I wanted to play them. I'm going to play them throughout the show. We got a bunch of them. The first one comes from an amazing friend of the show, Dwayne Steeler. Loading.
Greetings. I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. And I'm the Whiplash Maniac. I'm Steeler the Whiplash Maniac. And you're watching the 100th episode of Totally Toonular. One show stands, one shall fall. Autobots, transform and roll out.
All right, thank you so much for that one. Incredible.
He's the modern brother Theodore. I really love him.
I mean,
now this next one comes from director and friend of the show and former Toonie Reeves Elliott from Belgium. So,
ooh,
sorry, it's a buffering. There we
go. Yo, Leo, Nicole, Ben, James, congratulations! 100 episodes of Totally Toonular. That's amazing, sticking it out so far. This is Reeves, frequent guest that's been on the show. What I love about Totally Toonular is that you guys, every episode is a different cartoon. You have so much variety. Right now I'm traveling abroad, had to get out of the country a little bit. I'm in Brussels, and by law, there's only one cartoon anywhere. That's 1010. Fucking 1010.
You can't use
a good American cartoon show. Bye.
Thank you.
I like his visiting Jean-Paul Van Damme statue there. I appreciate that.
For those who didn't see, there was just a Tintin just on his wall in the bathroom. So
amazing.
And the last one I'll play for this bit. This comes from our director of photography, Sam Zhang.
Oh.
Hey, James, congratulations on 100 episodes. I know you don't actually see me in the video right now, so you can only hear me say this, but for the love of God, can you please all just do a VeggieTales episode? Or more importantly, just talk about silly songs with Larry. I will not ever care about the show again until you do so. Have you hit 100 episodes?
So
maybe if he thanked all four of us as opposed to just James, we'd do that.
Maybe, is this the next episode? Like, I don't understand what's happening.
Well, this is why Sam left for creative differences. This is what happened.
Yeah. He refuses to acknowledge. That's part of it. And then VeggieTales. What are we doing? I get it.
All of the computer animators.
What is it?
All of the computer animators when I went to art school were excited when VeggieTales came in because they wanted to get a start at television, and VeggieTales came and they recruited animators straight from the art school where everybody was learning art of animation. And I looked at the kid and I was just like, to work on VeggieTales would be all to be escaped for me, because it's such a Christian show. Everything has to have a moral. It's like moral oral, but completely earnest. I would jump off a fucking bridge.
Yeah, I remember watching it when I was younger, being like, "Oh, this is fun, whatever," because I was a kid, and then realizing, "Oh, this is I'm being snuck in religious themes that I didn't even realize." What do you?
Yeah, you're being indoctrinated. That's the whole thing. It's like what they're doing with Paw Patrol right now.
Big Dan is getting ready to do a human sacrifice or something. He's doing all this ritualistic.
Big Dan, you there? Big Dan's still muted.
I think
he looks like Zodiac.
You got Big Dan, you're muted.
Do you know the band Macabre? They did songs about serial killers, and Zodiac is one of the best jams ever.
All right.
Ever.
Big
Can
Dan,
I just read a couple comments before we go to Big Dan?
Oh.
Well, read the emails. Wait,
go Leo.
What's up?
Or whatever. James, you make the call.
Well, we got Big Dan on the screen now, so let's just do Big Dan. What's up, Big Dan?
All right.
All right, James.
One more time before I actually become Big Dan. So here we are.
Got to transform.
Got to transform. Now, funny enough, I am doing a cosplay tonight, which is just me wearing a sweatshirt. One clue. The cosplay does come from a Dwayne Steeler episode.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Transformers.
Lucky that he came through at a good time. So let's get back on this meatloaf.
Yeah, how's the meatloaf going?
So let's get the binder going. Well, we got a binder for your meatloaf. We're going to go for some bread here. So we got 4 pieces of old stale crappy bread.
Oh, you're using stale bread.
Nice.
3 eggs. Let me glove up real quick, guys.
What? Wait.
How did you get started in making sauces and stuff, Dan?
Well, funny enough, as Ben can tell you, we're born-bred Tennesseans down here, so pretty much everybody can cook.
Right.
Your grandmothers, your mothers, it's just what you're raised up doing.
Oh, cool.
And on top of that, I wound up, when I first got out of college and started in my first job, I worked around a bunch of guys who love to cook barbecue.
Right.
All right.
Ben was
Well,
saying
I'm talking
earlier
about
that
this.
you were the troublemaker when you guys were younger.
Well, there's a reason that his mother hated me.
That's juicy.
And throwing in a quarter cup of marinade real quick here, guys, while we're talking.
I did compare you to the real life Beavis and Butthead. You had the hair.
Yeah, that was pretty close, man. I'll tell you what. See, Ben earlier said he was a dork. The truth is, dude was smart. He was in the honors classes where I was somewhere else, where they locked you up downstairs and only let you out to serve lunch every so often.
Yeah, that's where I was in high school.
Throwing in a can of diced tomatoes here.
Diced tomatoes.
We're going to go with that big Dan's Bethpage barbecue sauce.
Now, all of this they can order, right? They can order this from what? Your Instagram? Is that where we can get this
it's all
stuff?
cottage food stuff, so just hit me up online.
Yeah, and we have a QR code also on
Instagram. Of this barbecue sauce. This is a barbecue meatloaf.
And everyone listening, later in the show, you could win Big Dan's original sauces.
Next,
right.
literally come back.
He sent me some, and it was really good. It lasted
What do you think about it,
one
Bob?
rotisserie chicken.
I've got something else for you. The thing is, these big dudes have got to stick together. I heard you complaining one time about not getting the T-shirts from the movie you did. Let me tell you, there's a 5X Babette T-shirt waiting for you right here in the Big Dan kitchen. Anytime you can get your hands on it.
No, you would wait
for you. I can actually go over here and pick it up and show it to you. It's ready for you. All right.
Well, we got 1 minute till break.
I know you can relate to that because like people will give me a T-shirt and it's like, what are you giving me a mitten?
Like, what's the biggest you got? Like, oh, we got any size to fit anybody. We go all the way to 2XL.
No,
you gotta be kidding me.
Well, hold on. On that note, we are at 9 o'clock, so we do have to get to a side of beans. So,
all right, well, we're getting the binder together. We're going to get the meat together. Next time you see me, I'll be at the smoke.
Awesome. Awesome.
Big Dan.
I do have one thing to say to that because not getting the T-shirt from the movie, Babette. Didn't I not say I got you a thing here? And I made sure that all our sizes were covered because me too, big boy.
The truth is I never wear T-shirts. I never wear like.
That's what it is.
That's the truth. Wait,
everybody stand up. Everybody's wearing the Big Dan shirt. Show it to him so he knows what he might be missing.
Yeah.
He'll need to be wearing this T-shirt. Guys, show it to him. Show the man.
It looks great.
What?
It looks great. But I never wear T-shirts. I never wear T-shirts. Especially T-shirts that have like writing or anything on them. It's just, I try to be timeless. I try to be timeless in that way.
All right, well,
my friend, you are. My friend, you are.
All right, so here we go. Thank you so much,
hot sauce.
Babs. We love you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Love you, Babette.
I love you guys. I'll see you later. Have a great show, okay? Have a good one. And I'm so honored to have been here for 100.
Thank you for coming.
Love you, Babette. Love you so much.
Honored to have you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right.